Please put your hands together for your final session of the morning, Joe, Tash, and Alison.
Hi, guys. How's the morning going? Well, I am so excited to talk to you today about how to use the power of community to drive your business forward. This is not a new topic. Obviously, brands as established as Liberty of London, Lego, M&S have been using passionate communities to drive their business forwards for decades. And at the end of the day, community is really the cornerstone of loyalty. And that's what we're in this business to do, right? To turn one-time purchasers into repeat buyers. But if you think about it, entering the community arena now really requires a new stamina and quid pro quo. If you awaken that feeling in a customer that they're a part of something bigger than themselves, that's when the real work really begins. And we've been so lucky at Movable that our story has really been driven forward by a passionate community of change makers, which is really what our customers are. We call them mavens, but we wanted to bring this topic front and center because we know that all of you have faced a really difficult year on an acquisition front. Yet again, you're being asked to do more with less. But we know that there's so much for you to unlock if you can tap into the power of community. So we wanted to bring this to the forefront this morning. So without further ado, let's dive into this very juicy topic and talk to our master community builders, Tash and Joe. All right, so you guys have built some really successful communities. So let's start out by talking about your role and community. And maybe you could give us a couple of words to describe your community. Tash, why don't you get started?
Okay, so hi, I'm Tash. I'm Global Head of CRM at Huel. So I'll start by talking about what Huel is and then go into our community. So Huel is a complete nutrition brand. So what that means is that our product range provides a convenient way for you to consume all the essential vitamins and minerals that your body needs to thrive. So our product has quite a bold brand. I'm hoping a lot of people in this room have seen Huel out in the wild somewhere.
Who's seen Huel out in the wild, guys?
Please all put your hands up.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's quite a bold brand, and because of that, because it's quite also a conversational piece, so if you see someone with Huel on their desk or you see someone out wearing a Huel t-shirt, it kind of sparks conversation, and because of that, it's built quite a following, and that is what we refer to now as our Hueligans, and that is our community. And our community's role in our brand is, so ultimately our goal as marketers is to build on Huel as a brand, but that community are there to help us grow, and we see them as a part of that. So that's kind of how they are a part of everything we do at Huel. And if I use 3 words to describe them, I'd say very animated. If you ever talk to someone about Huel that is a Hueligan, they will be very passionate and very animated when they talk about it. Number 2, they're busy. We're a convenience product. So we deal with people who might be running across Africa or might be a nurse and trying to get through their shift. And then number 3, I'd say self-aware. And just to explain that, I think everyone has awareness of Huel, but not everyone always knows why they need Huel. So I think if you're a Huel customer, you have a clear need and a clear reason why we're in your life. So I think they have to be quite self-aware to realize how we slot into their goals and what they're trying to achieve.
I love that. Amazing. All right, Joe, tell us about the marketing meetup.
Thank you. Well, you gave such a good answer there, so
Yeah.
following up. So I run a community called the Marketing Meetup. It started from my own introversion, really, of attending events like this and walking in and generally feeling entirely fearful of walking and saying hello and having to introduce yourself, but having your humanity judged by your job title or your budget. And so I started an event in a canteen in Cambridge, 1 speaker, a fairly nice buffet, and carried on going. A very long story short, over the past 8 years, the Marketing Meetup community has grown to about 50,000 marketers across the world, 250,000 across socials, 170 events from London to Tokyo, and 2 words to define us, which is positively lovely. And it is the most British thing in the world when you stand at the front of an event and tell a load of New Yorkers to be positively lovely. But what we mean by that is you walk into this space and you feel welcomed to be the person that you are in the room. You come into the space and you know that everyone is there to learn. You come into the space and you know that everyone is there to help improve every one of the other people in the space as well.
I think we even have a video.
We even have a video that we place at the beginning of every one of our webinars.
All right, let me cue this up.
So yeah, just to put a bow on it, be positively lovely.
That's brilliant, amazing. So Tash, let's take a step back, and for the uninitiated, tell us a little bit more about the origins of Hooligans, because when I was doing some research, what I think is so interesting about this, like the Swifties, these guys, they really sort of created themselves, right? They also self-organize now, and you've really kind of unleashed this passion for the brand. And I think what's so interesting about this is that you now have to really manage this relationship in a very different way. This isn't like you just post on social. You have to make sure that you're nurturing this very authentic relationship in an ongoing way, right? Can you talk to us about that?
Yes, so they did do exactly that. They created themselves. So we didn't come up with the name Hooligans. They came up with it themselves, which is insane. But we've really started to lean into that. So if you work for Huel, you're a hooligan. If you're a customer of Huel, you're a hooligan. And we'll talk about it. We use that term, like they're aware that they are hooligans as well, as they did name themselves. So I think very early on, it started by just making them feel a part of something. So if you've ever purchased with Huel, you'll know that on your first order, you get a free t-shirt. That t-shirt, yes, it's a great marketing tool. Like, you see people wearing it as they go to the gym or running errands, and it makes people see our brand out in the wild. However, it also makes you feel a part of something because you're wearing a t-shirt, you see someone else wearing the t-shirt, and you've got that acknowledgement. So that was like number one, like they felt like they were a part of something. And then as a brand, what we started to do was we were like, okay, we've created this community. Now let's encourage you to bring your friends into the community. Because if I'm already in something and I bring my friend along, now I want to stay in it longer because my friend's also in it. And we talk about advocacy a lot, and like 19% of our new customers every year come through our referral channel. And then we know that those customers, they have a higher lifetime value. They are 3.5 times more likely than another customer to then go on and refer someone as well. So it constantly spirals in like building this community because everyone wants to be part of it with their friends. And then I think once we've done all that, so we obviously, they've created this community, we've lent into it, we've made them want to be a part of something, they've then brought their friends in. It's how we create those moments where we make them feel like a human. So a prime example of something that we're working on right now, sneak peek, is that we're leaning into WhatsApp within the UK and Europe. And we're gonna create like almost like a VIP channel for these hooligans that are like, okay, I'm a part of your community, I'm invested, I wanna be a part of this. We're going to create this WhatsApp channel that's going to give them sneak peeks into new products, going to tell them what we're working on, and almost open up that door to be like, okay, you really are a part of something. Because I think our email channel is great at doing that, but we can lean into it more, and that's what we're going to start to do.
That's
so
exciting.
We definitely do it like throughout the customer journey. We're acknowledging the fact that they're a part of our brand, and we ask them a lot for their opinions and their advice, and they've really helped us to grow to where we are now, and we constantly thank them for that as well.
Amazing. So Joe, you created the marketing meetup, as you mentioned, 8 years ago out of your own passion and your own personal brand. So how have you had to differentiate the two as the marketing meetup has continued to grow?
I'm somewhat of a reluctant leader in a sense. You know, I stepped up to solve a need when I saw it. But initially, it was very much personal brand led. So I think for probably the first 5-6 years, Marketing Meetup and myself were synonymous. You know, you could speak about each interchangeably, and it wouldn't really matter. I would say that over the past sort of 3 years, there's been a conscious effort to decouple those things and let the Marketing Meetup brand stand on its own 2 feet. If I was to offer something tactical for the folks in the in the room today, that means that you have to let go. You have to realise that when you're building a community, there's 4 magic words, which is it's not about you. And it's not about you, translates into a couple of ways. First of all, it's a mentality, you know, everything is about them, the community, but it's also representative in processes, in bringing other people in, allowing people to volunteer, and if they offer help, say, hell yeah, I'd love you to help. And so over these past 3-4 years, we've been on a very conscious journey of decoupling the personal brand with the marketing meetup brand, which has been fabulous.
Yeah, terrific. So Tash, the famous first 1,000 hooligans were very committed fitness-first consumers, but now it's really for everybody, and they're all over the world. The community is made up of people who are attracted to the product for its convenience, like working parents. There are people who are attracted to its vegan ingredients for its low carbon footprint, and consumers are purchasing it through a multitude of channels like retail. Can you talk about how you foster that passion, and now you're accessing this really broad audience that are coming to you through all these different channels, and you're collecting data in all these different ways?
Yeah, so I think as much as we're customer obsessed, we're also product obsessed, so they go hand in hand for us. So when we talk about our product, and our product range is ever growing, so it started as like a powdered meal replacement shake, and now there's everything from greens powders to bars to noodle pots. As we've expanded that product range, it's been very key for us to like tap into that audience and find out what they want, what are their needs. So like our noodle cups came around because people were like, okay, I love your shakes and I love drinking your products, but I'd love to be able to eat it with a fork and like actually consume it more as a meal. So we then created these noodle cups. So we've definitely leaned into it that way, but then we're also very much about being transparent with our customer base. So as we've created all these products, we've also know that there's not been things that have gone that well, and we understand that like it's all trial and error, right? But it's about being transparent with our customer base and taking them on that journey with us and being like, okay, we're actually going to delist this product, we're actually going to improve it, and we're going to do this next version. And being transparent with them through that whole journey, whether it is that, like we're changing a product, or like if we make a mistake, which every business makes mistakes, we're quite transparent with our customer and we'll tell them like, okay, we've slipped up here, we're gonna do this instead, or we're pivoting on this, or whatever. And that takes them on that journey and really expands from like, okay, we're this 1,000 community to like, we're this millions in this community, and being transparent and honest with them. And then I think the other thing is people come to us for different goals. We know there's a million different reasons why people have Huel, whether they're running across Africa or whether they are a doctor or a nurse or a new parent. And those goals might change over time. So it's very much about collecting data at different touch points and different points within the customer journey with us and within their lifetime with us. And then understanding, okay, your goal might have changed or your flavor preferences might have changed, and then how we tailor that journey for you after that.
So we've got some examples here. Can you talk about how you're activating that data to continue to support the community? Now they're so broad and they come in all these different forms from all these different places.
Yes, so the examples on the screen. So obviously the first one is a poll that looks at what your flavor preference is for our Black Edition RTD. And we do this in like with a variety of products. We find out whether you like sweet or savory. We find out if you like chocolate or vanilla. We find out if you're in a berry era of your life or a chocolate era. And we take that data and then we use that to continue personalizing content after that. The one on the right-hand side of your screen is a bit more of this like, we're being transparent with you. So this is how we changed our abandoned browse email. So instead of just saying, hey, come back to us, like we know that you've abandoned your journey, come back, we decided to actually ask them why they've abandoned that journey and be quite transparent that it might be that you had a technical difficulty at checkout. It might be that you couldn't navigate our website or you don't know which product is for you. But asking those questions and then like using that data in the next step to really like give them a better customer experience and go, okay, the cost wasn't right for you, here's a discount code is a real prime example, but not sure which product is right for you. Well, we have a survey on there, like a questionnaire on the website that is which Huel, and you can take that and then understand which product is right for you. So again, just being transparent, collecting data where you can, and then using that data to make the journey an experience better.
Yeah, I mean, this is just like so surprisingly vulnerable for a big brand to ask these questions in a really transparent way. I think it's a great way to earn trust, right? Which is a currency that every brand wants to have.
Definitely.
So it's great. Okay, so we're here today talking about community as it relates to driving business goals, and even if that business might be mission-based or a nonprofit, so there's got to be sustainable operating principles and a scorecard. But that's hard when you've let people in and you've got that quid pro quo. So how do you measure success? Is it active members in the community or social posts? What is important? How do you measure success? Joe, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I think this question speaks to the principal challenge of community, which is that reality that there is a group of people that you wholeheartedly want to help and some kind of business objective. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people would think that those two things can't exist together, mm-hmm. but in fact they can, and it's important that they do. As community builders, we still need to put baked beans on the tables for our families sometimes, you know. And so when we speak about goals and metrics and stuff like that, we are looking at them in two different ways. So for the community, it may be stuff like webinar sign-ups, it might be the number of events we've run. These are sort of quite crude ways of proving that the community is growing in some fashion. The thing that we're really bothered though is the feedback that we get back, so social mentions, etc., mm-hmm. etc. And that's not in some fancy spreadsheet that's like, oh, someone said something nice today. Mm-hmm. Of course, there are some business metrics that are associated with it, you know, so we'll look at the same thing as everyone else, you know, is margin good, is mm-hmm. revenue good, is profit good? And all these things, they can't be negated. I think it's quite easy to look at community as like this purist exercise where you are giving all the time. There has to be a give and a take, and that is in every aspect of community, both in terms of communication, in terms of value exchange, both in terms of financial. All these things are all part of the picture when it comes to community.
Definitely. Tash, what about you guys?
So for us, because we have this customer obsession internally, we have something called the Voice of the Customer Group. Mm-hmm. So it's everyone from me as head of CRM to our brand director to our head of strategy, our head of customer service, all come into a room every month, mm-hmm. and we look at the entire customer journey. So everything from acquisition mm-hmm. all the way through to that like second, third subscriber purchase. And what we do is we look at all the metrics that sit underneath those different points within the customer journey. So it could be how many people are sharing to their friends, but it could be how many people are liking a social post, to something in the middle that's how many people are contacting customer service. And we take all those metrics and then we look at them and we focus on like, okay, how do we pull this all together into what is the customer actually saying and how do we want to do this? And it's like one big document that looks at all those points and then we pull out the key ones. The dream and what we're trying to get to is how we quantify those numbers together and that quantitative and qualitative data and then pull together like one pure customer metric. And that's what we're working towards in this next kind of 12 months. But right now it's kind of a mishmash of like all the metrics you could think of that look at the customer.
Amazing. All right, so our last question is for any marketers in the room who are looking to achieve the same level of community success, what's one piece of tactical advice that you want to offer them?
So I'd say, as marketers, we're very much pulled in the direction of like, what's right for the business, what's right for the business. And it's more kind of a challenge to you all to actually just step back and think like, what does the customer actually want in this situation? Because it might drive you more revenue or it might like work towards any metric that the business is challenging you on, but how you build that relationship with your customers that's like a true, authentic community kind of relationship is stepping back and challenging yourself to be like, okay, what does the customer want to see in this moment?
I love that.
I'd echo that and put a slightly different slant on it to a certain extent, which is that the currency of community is everything we've spoken about so far in terms of hard metrics, soft metrics, but another currency of community is opportunity, which means to say that when we're having these conversations, particularly when placed in a corporate context, we're going to be looking at community in lots and lots of different ways. But the one we can't negate is looking around a room like today and going, wow, there's a bunch of amazing humans that have been brought together in one space, and that's something that is quite intangible. I think sometimes, particularly with a short-termism trend that sits within marketing, we can negate the power of this community, that simple humanity, to drive business results, but also to create an experience which does retain folks, does turn them into advocates. And if we ignore that and sort of forget that the currency of community is opportunity, then we're missing out on something which is really quite powerful.
greatest untapped resource might be the person sitting next to you guys. So shameless plug for Mavens, which is the Movable Inc. community. So take out your phones, take a snap of this, and get on in there. I think Tash had a fun experience. If you want to just share that.
Yeah, so we're a global team, so I have to go over to New York to see our team out there. And through this community, I found another CRM person that I could go have a coffee with. So there's some really great people in this community, and everyone wants to talk and meet and learn and share. So 100% join.
Well, we'd love to see you guys in there. Well, this was so insightful, guys. We really appreciate this. So why don't we give them a warm Think Summit thank you.